When Gotham first premiered, it promised something very different, a gritty, crime-focused look at Gotham City, before Batman really even came around. It had style, ambition, and a unique hook. But as the series went on, reactions became more divided. So what happened? Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus Commentary, where today, this is a video that is so near and dear to my heart because not a lot of you will actually know this. I love Gotham. I love the show. It went on for about 5 seasons. I absolutely love it. And recently I was searching for video ideas, and someone mentioned shows that had recently passed or things that didn't go too well, and he said Gotham, and I was like, yes, I need to do a video on that. So here is that very video, and we are answering the question. And it hurts me trying to say this, but what went wrong with the Gotham series? While I did love it, there were problems, which is the unfortunate truth. There was a problem. But without further ado, I'm going to discuss what that problem was and what might have happened if it didn't inevitably fall over. But without further ado, let's get into it. The original concept of Gotham was that it worked best when it leaned into its core idea, which was a grounded crime drama centered around Jim Gordon navigating a very corrupt city. And it worked for a long period of time. Early seasons balanced noir storytelling with moral ambiguity and street-level threats, giving Gotham a strong identity that separate themselves from Batman himself. The focus on the organized crime aspect, the police corruption, and rising villains gave a show a fresh angle and felt very distinct within the crowded superhero TV space. Because at this time, we still had Arrow, we had Flash, we had all the CW stuff that were actually doing well at the time. So it was competing with stuff like that. But Gotham still was able to stand out so much better than, say, Batwoman. However, I mean, all of them, yes, did de-evolve and did decline. However, this show I think could have gone on for so much longer, but it simply had a big identity crisis. As Gotham progressed, it struggled to decide what it really wanted to be. Was it a serious crime drama, a comic book fantasy, or a villain origin anthology? The tone shifted consistently, swinging between the grounded realism and exaggerated comic book chaos. This inconsistency made it difficult for the show to maintain emotional weight, as stakes often felt unclear or reset just too quickly. Now, what I really enjoyed about this show was their overuse of their, the villains. Now, I know that sounds like a bad thing, and yes, I do know there was a lot of people that didn't like it. However, I don't think there was so many, Batman villains that did so much justice other than on Gotham. Joker, Penguin, Riddler, Scarecrow, not Killer Croc, that one was horrible. But all of those characters, Hugo Strange even, all of these characters had such an amazing arc, and they distanced themselves from the Batman anthology stuff. But many people saw that the Gotham's biggest problems was their reliance on the familiar Batman villains long before Batman even existed. Yes, that is a tiny bit of a continuity error, but characters like Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and others were repeatedly resurrected, which I think was a bit weird, especially with Riddler, but it was also very reimagined or recycled, which I think is what put a lot of people off. When I watched it, I was relatively young. I just was like, oh, I want Riddler back. Oh, I want him back. Oh, I want him back. But while performances were often strong, repeated deaths, fake outs, and returns really diminished the tension. Poison Ivy, they did that character to death. But when no consequences feels permanent, dramatic stakes really just do collapse, and I think that's what was the ultimate killer for this show. Now, during this identity crisis, they also were questioning whether to bring their Batman lore a bit early or bring it a bit forward. But despite claiming that the show is a pre-Batman show, Gotham consistently lead on the Batman mythology. Obviously, the show started, the very first scene was the Bruce Wayne's parents dying, an iconic scene that is known across the whole of the DC comic universe. But iconic villains appeared fully formed, technology felt too advanced, and storylines mirrored classic Batman arcs without Bruce Wayne being ready to become Batman. Now, to me, as someone who grew up with cartoons and Batman and kind of got sick of seeing Batman, I think that's okay. And that's why I also think I really do like the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, because it's very grounded, but it's solely focused on the villains as well. But in this, I think this created a disconnect because the world felt like it was racing towards Batman while refusing to actually allow him to exist, other than in the very last minute as well, and I think last 10 seconds, which I think was ridiculous. But the Batman problem wasn't also the biggest problem, because there was an inconsistent character development with a lot of people, including Jim Gordon. Some characters evolved naturally, while others changed direction abruptly to serve the plot. Jim Gordon's moral journey often reset, alliances shifted without build-up, and character and motivation sometimes just contradicted earlier developments. But this inconsistency weakened the emotional investment, making a long-term arc feel much less earned. I mean, we waited 3 seasons to see Edward become the Riddler, and it was in such a weird way, and I think that was sad. Now, the tone was what is good. The tone is what was amazing, but there was also an audience expectation that I think the producers kind of just moved away from. Gotham targeted a mainstream network audiences while attempting darker, edgier storytelling. This compromise led to violence and themes that felt restrained, yet exaggerated at the same time. The show wanted the freedom of a comic book universe, but remained limited by broadcast standards, preventing it from fully committing to its darker ideas. And its willingness to experiment deserves credit, even when execution just feels short. Now, in saying all of this, yes, there is things that went wrong with Gotham, but you also have to understand that there is a lot of good things that the show did. Despite its flaws, Gotham succeeded in several areas. Performances, particularly with Penguin and Riddler, were absolutely standout. The show embraced the very stylish visuals, theatrical villains, and a unique aesthetic that distinguished it from the other DC series that were currently being aired at the time. Now, as I said earlier, while its willingness to experiment deserves credit, it did end up falling short in the very end, and it was the ending was so rushed. Literally, 10 years took place in a single episode.
What did he say?
But this also begs the question, could Gotham have been fixed and gone on for a few more seasons? A more focused approach could have been strengthened the series by far, but limiting villain usage, committing to a consistent lore, and resisting the urge to rush Batman mythology may have preserved tension and identity, but Gotham may have worked better as a tighter, shorter series rather than a long-running network show, which is ultimately where I think the contrast really happened, but it's still good nonetheless. So, what went wrong with Gotham? It started with a strong idea, but it lost its identity just along the way. And in trying to build a Batman world without Batman, it just forgot what made Gotham itself interesting. Gotham didn't fail because of the lack of talent or ambition, it just struggled because it tried to be too many things at once. By prioritizing spectacle over structure and mythology over meaning, the series gradually lost the balance and it made early seasons just too compelling. But without further ado, folks, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on the channel. And I strongly recommend you go and watch Gotham because it is a very good show. If you just take away the things I've said about the Batman stuff. And I hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all in the next one, folks. Bye bye.
Yeah.